What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nathan, and on this planet we send it. And what we're going to be getting in today, well, for many of you, you guys are out there, about to receive a once-in-a-generation snowstorm. Me, on the other hand, here in SoCal, I'm getting to prepare for 77 degrees on Christmas Day. So regardless if you're getting what you want or you're not getting what you want, I can promise you, after today, every day is going to be a little bit brighter for all of us since it's winter solstice. So what better way to go ahead and celebrate winter solstice than to do a little garden review? So it's been a while since I've taken us around. I'm going to kind of highlight some of the things that I've either done or, obviously show you where things are at. And then after that, we'll just go ahead and take you around and kind of show you the progress to include the avocados that I got that I'm going to be getting ready to pull off here in just a little bit. All right, I got a plan in place. Let's go ahead and send it. You can probably see myself in the reflection over there that I haven't had a chance to even go ahead and change my clothes. My new job is kind of preventing me from getting here in time to do these a little bit more frequently. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the blueberry bushes. Blueberry bushes, I got some concerns because some of the tips here are kind of dying, but it looks like a few of them still might survive the deciduous period. This one seems like it kind of went out doing a lot better than this one over here, so we'll see. Just as they are starting to become dormant, I went ahead and put some fertilizer, some acidic fertilizer for the blueberry bushes because that's what they want. But you can see I also beforehand put some fertilizer from the worm bins, and I'm getting like some tomato bushes coming up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and transport those over. When they get a little bit bigger, I'm gonna go ahead and transport those over to the vertical garden. But we are also in this random pot getting some. It appears to be some red leaf lettuce there, some purple that you see there coming up. I went and picked up my little fork here. Let's check and see how the worms are doing. As you can see, I just recently put a whole new load of cardboard on the top because we actually were getting a little bit of rain for a couple of days. So let me see if we can see how the worms are doing. Might be kind of hard because I did sort of top this off, but it would be good to see if I can see some worms. Yep, I am seeing some worms down there, and actually everything is looking really healthy as far as like the worm castings that they're producing. See if I can get them back on camera. There's one. So they are there. They're getting to be pretty big. So now it's just a matter of them multiplying. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this back up, and we'll press on over here to the strawberries. And the other thing I'll mention real fast before we jump to the strawberries is I was actually, when we transferred that, when I put the new worms in there's kind of a bad smell, but it's good to, I'm very pleased to say that smell is gone, meaning I think that the biology is sort of balancing out and the worms are in there starting to do their thing. All right, so for the strawberries, as you know, due to my recovery, my surgery recovery and everything, my strawberries took a pretty big hit, but they are starting to bounce back. As a matter of fact, we're getting flowers showing that they are starting to grow. The only thing is that unfortunately this one died back probably a little too much. So I'm going to be taking some strawberries and trying to sort of plant some new ones up top so that it kind of spreads about. If there's at least one plant there, it's going to do really good. But you can see where some did survive, especially there towards the bottom to where the water was not evaporating as fast, they're doing pretty good. But this one's actually doing really good. I'm not sure why the difference. Maybe just maybe getting some more water from up top or whatever the reason. Maybe a little bit further out. Maybe on some rain. Just when it does rain, albeit very little, that it's getting a little bit more. I don't know, but it seems like it's holding in there pretty good. And then these up here, they're holding in there. Although I think I need to water. They're still showing to be healthy. We did just get a water on some rain, but it looks like it is time for me to go ahead and water again. And then just here to kind of highlight with the in-ground garden, I do see some like arugula coming up and some different lettuce coming up all over the place that has self-seeded. So that appears to be going pretty good. I'm probably going to go ahead and pick up some additional ones and go ahead and plant them just so that we get some more because it's not that much. So I probably will go ahead and do some more planting. At least over here it seems pretty intense. Back there is where it's not seeming to be as intense. Plus I'm just getting random palm trees popping up, so I need to pull those out. I got one in the front yard that I let go too long and I need to pull out. Now for the bees seem like they're doing okay. I mean, this is typical time to where they're very low activity. One thing that I noticed about having a beehive in your house is that, especially when you don't got a big yard like mine, is that you end up finding a lot of dead bees near you. They just kind of move on around their way, and I seem to get quite a bit of them towards the windows. So I'm not sure why that is, but it's one of my observations. But they seem like they're still surviving. It seems to be fairly healthy, although we're just now starting to get into the colder temperatures. We've been down to, I think, maybe 34, high 33 degrees recorded one time in the morning. So it seems like they're doing okay so far, but I am kind of curious to see how they're going to hold up this winter. And once again, but this was actually due to legit reasoning. I didn't get out here and harvest the hops, so they are died on the vine again. Oh well. I do know that they grow very well here and in this area, so I think we found a spot for them. It's just when it comes time to pruning next month, I'll just cut those back and see the new ones grow next year. Now this papaya tree here growing in the cylinder block, I should have removed a long time ago, but unfortunately it's definitely too big to probably salvage. I may see if I can't give it to the local gardening club. I don't know, we'll see. But let's see what we got going on here. It looks like I think that's potatoes coming up right there. The peppers are very small and didn't come out. It looks like something maybe 8 at this one right there. Unsure on how well it's doing. I'm not killing it off, but it doesn't look like it's necessarily thriving yet either. So I'm unsure on how that's going to go. Got another one here that really didn't do anything at all. I'm unsure what this is, to be honest with you. I don't know what that is. I think these are some of the hot peppers that I've grown. Like here, you can see a few of these shriveled on the vine. Didn't use them. And so there's some flowering here, so we're just going to have to see how it goes. Besides that, we're keeping it well, so keeping the calcium up with either chicken bones back there or the eggshells, and we still got some of our onions here. This is where I'll be putting those tomatoes, and I definitely need to get the winter harvest into the ground come either the end of December or early January. Okay, no surprises here. We got the multi-graft tree over here. Actually, what? Oh, okay, no, that's the, I was thinking, is there growth actually coming in on this side of the tree? But no, it's actually some of the goji berries coming up there still. But getting ready to go ahead and set up for the pruning. So I've been out here kind of IDing and identifying how I want to approach the pruning. For example, I definitely don't want any interfering with my weather station, and that one's actually been a pretty, I seem to be having to tie that one back a little bit more every year, so I may just kind of cut it off down here. But again, when it gets to the pruning, we'll go more into that. Same with the peach tree. Let's go ahead and take a look at the orange trees here, though. These are my 2 semi-dwarf. This one definitely seems like it is, it's in it, and it's maintaining. And this one even seems like it's kind of holding in there. It doesn't, as you can tell, it's not as, the growth and the foliage isn't as well developed. And in my impression, and maybe it's just due to my lack of confidence, because I've lost quite a few of the citrus trees, oranges explicitly, that I think it's going to go. But it seems like it's in there. It's doing better than the other one. So maybe it's just a different type, and I need to, I need to manage my own expectations. But they both seem to be surviving. Persimmons tree, it's definitely hanging in there. It's beginning to fill out a little bit better, right alongside the lime tree, the Mexican lime tree here. So it's been a while since I've been out here. I can tell because got some suckers that are getting way too big. You know how we do. We try to stay sucker free here in my garden. So, but I mean, we're still getting quite a few limes, and to be honest, as those who have been around with me since pretty much the start, the Mexican lime tree has really been probably number 2 all-star. The number 1 all-star we'll be getting to here in just a second. All right, and the 2 fig trees. This one definitely is into full dormant phase, and the other one here, although As a matter of fact, it looks like the lemon balm that I planted over here, the roots have made it all the way over here and is growing up over there. But this fig tree, interesting enough, it is a different type, but it still has foliage, so that's interesting. I think it's called the tiger striped fig. I don't recall exactly. I mean, I definitely remember planting in the scion and putting it into the ground, and it seemed like it just stayed in there for maybe 2 years before it started growing at all. But it did start growing, and it's surviving. So we'll see how it comes springtime and how it grows throughout the year. All right, and the avocado tree. You can the good thing about the lighting here on winter solstice is, when I get home from work, there's barely any light here, and you can kind of see where the light ends are, where the new growth is compared to some of the older growth where it's a little bit darker. But here we are. So the final official count for year 2022 is we are receiving 2 avocados off of its first production. And again, I'm 5'8", so fairly good palm, size of my palm. So we'll be getting 2 decent size. Definitely not big. I could leave them on there and get bigger, to be honest, but I'm going to be pulling them anyways because now that it's becoming the new year, I want the energy to either be going into the roots or to be going into the tree itself for next year, so that hopefully we get a little bit better. Now, typically on the second year, you'll get up to 10. So being that I think on the first year you get up to 5, maybe next year I'll get 5. So we'll see. And here is the #1 all-star of all time in the garden, Big Bertha. I mean, you can see we're still, even though we cut it back significantly, it's hard to keep up. We just, as a matter of fact, those are brand new. We just picked up some of the guavas on the ground yesterday, and those are what we got already. So it's just like, no matter how much we cut it back, it's still producing. But I will say I'm pretty happy with the major cutbacks that we did last year because it's not leaning over as much. And when I got to get under there to to cut the lawn, I still got to kind of duck in there and, flex about a little bit. But it seems like this is probably there's not going to be any major reason, there's not going to be any reason to do major cuts come next year. Well, to be honest, the pruning season for Big Bertha, which is after its production. And typically the production will go into January, February timeframe. Okay, and for the pomegranate tree, it's definitely in full dormant. You can see now that all the weight is off of it to include the leaves and mostly the pomegranates really. The blue strap isn't as tight, so it's got a little bit of, I can go ahead and take that down. Oh, and one of our friends there, the hummingbird, let's see if we can zoom in on it. It actually comes up and sort of says hi sometimes through the window. It's always checking us out, but this one must love the garden because it sticks around quite a bit. Let's come back out to the pomegranate tree. But yes, I need to take down that last pomegranate. It's up there, I think, just rotting, so it's definitely time to get it on out of there and just get ready to start pruning come next month. Okay, let's take a look at the baby avocado tree. This one was starting to thrive after a season of looking not so good, and it looks like it's still starting to thrive. I'm still seeing new growth coming up all over it. So this one seems like it's making it. So that's a great thing for the baby avocado tree. It's really good to see. And we'll just lump up this section together. Never have had a problem with the ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is just really thrives here in my garden. I'm pretty sure due to obviously due to all the above, the soil and the weather. And then actually the elderberry tree seems to have finally strengthened up to the point to where it can, support itself. We'll see what happens come springtime, but it seems like at least right now it's able to support itself after like the I think it was 3 major cuts that I did to it, so that it basically wasn't just crumbling under its own weight. All right, let's take a look at the papaya tree. We got some papayas coming in. To be honest, after a long time, last winter this thing took a pretty big beating, and this thing wasn't producing any papaya like all the way up to pretty much until fall. And so now that we got the papaya coming in, and as a matter of fact, you can kind of see in there, we got quite a few new papaya. If you've been kind of watching with me for a while, this papaya tree is on its 3rd year. So this thing has grown very significant. As a matter of fact, fact, it's now starting to get above the fence line here and get a little bit more of the sun. So now that it's kind of also above the fence line and, you know, basically receiving some of the same sun, well, correction, receiving the sun that's now coming over my neighbor's roof. So I'm hoping that maybe that'll keep it warmer this year, so it doesn't go into such a dire state like it did last year, to where, if I recall correctly, the last time from last year at about this time, the top of it is about where that bottom papaya was. All right, and please forgive the work in progress. I need to, now that I'm up and doing better, I definitely need to come out here and do some cleaning and get all that cleaned up and moved out of the way. But let's take a look here at the Naval orange tree. We got some flowers coming on. So, and as a matter of fact, not only flowers, we got quite a few developments coming on as far as the oranges. So, I'm grateful the bees seem to, like, you know, they're still out here and they're still paying attention and, you know, giving everything the best chance. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be honest, I think that's high enough, that shoot right there is high enough that I don't consider that a sucker. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that one, at least. Yeah, I'll have to think about it. I think that one's good enough to not be a sucker. So we'll have to see how that's going. But I mean, here we are going into January, and I got potential oranges in development. So this tree is still very new to me, as you can tell. Still got the tag on there, so I'm not quite sure of its fruiting cycles. This is kind of a learning experience for me and for you as we kind of go along. The little engine that could. I have been wanting to come out here and take a look, because from inside the house I could see the growth, hopefully it focuses, the growth that is starting to come in just about every single shoot. And I don't know which direction these are all going to take. I mean, is the one from the center going to be the lead dominant, or is that one going to be the dominant one, or is maybe one of these other ones that appear to be coming up going to take over? I mean, but we got new shoots coming in all around, and that's a great thing, because to be honest, for, you know, like I said, for those who've been following, we really didn't get that much growth on the little engine that could. So I'm assuming a lot of that growth was in the root system. It definitely looks like the leaves are kind of, if they're following similar to the avocado, sort of sacrificing themselves in order to, you know, provide the growth for everywhere else. But you can see this thing is growing all over the place. So now it's starting to make sense that, you know, that's potentially the reason, because before I wasn't seeing any growth, but I was seeing the leaves dying back, you know, while I was still fairly, you know, warm for San Diego weather. So it was kind of baffling me on why I was seeing that at first. But now, if it is following suit with the avocado tree, it's starting to make sense due to the growth that I'm seeing all over. All right, and the two last things to discuss about the grapevine. Number one, we got some fruiting towards the end, or early fall, end of summer. So that was actually a first time. Normally, our fruiting so far, whatever sort of starts in springtime is what we end up with. So it's kind of like it all comes and then it all goes. But we actually got sort of a second season with it. Now, a question that I'm going to be holding over to you guys. What do you think I should do? For those who've been watching for a while, remember the decision is, do I keep the old, I have two, let me restate that. So from the main trunk, I have two long shoots that I come down here. The one in the back is the oldest. The one in the front is the youngest. And it's the youngest is also the longest. As a matter of fact, the youngest is probably, for the most part, one single shoot that spans almost all the way over to the end here. So my goal is that regardless of which one I choose, I want it to be able to get to the end here. Now, the old one produced more, and it produced first this year. And the old one looks like, if I sort of do sort of a Frankenstein thing, I can cut the, hold on a second, you can see here I got the length here, probably to go potentially all the way down to the end here now. So do I take that one and stretch it all the way to the end and maybe just cut off this you know, this older part of it and just continue it down there. So it's sort of, like I said, sort of Frankenstein. I pick up a new shoot, cut the old one, pick up a new shoot, cut the old one until I kind of, you know, build my way down here. Or do I go with sort of an investment and the one shoot that's pretty clean all the way down to, if I put it up there, probably to down here, which it looks like it doesn't have any shoot on it that would be able to take me to the end, but next year it more than likely would. Do I go with the one that looks cleaner and will, you know, maybe look better in the long run, or do I stay with the one that's producing now and, you know, and producing first? Over to you. All right, that's going to go ahead and wrap up this video. And like I said, I just wanted to, you know, do a special video for the garden on winter solstice, because all of us, including myself, is looking forward to more sunlight. Obviously, the plants need it to survive, and I'm looking forward to it so I can be able to be a little bit more productive in the afternoon, because it's like I get home and the sun's already down, and there's really not much opportunity to do anything outside, so I'm looking forward to it. But, you know, I do want to say, you know, for my gardener watchers, you guys tend to be the most hardcore, especially if you're watching all the way till now. And I think if I haven't already hit it, I'll have to check after I do this little clip. I'll be hitting 600 subscribers here pretty soon. Yesterday, I was at like 599. So thank you to every single one of you who are watching my garden videos. I'll be thanking everyone else when I get that 600 video out. But if you also watch some of my Jeeping stuff, I got a Jeeping video in the works, and I'll be working to get that one out here pretty soon. But obviously, Christmas is coming up. Got to focus on that, focus on the family, and then I'm going to be including my YouTube family and everything else. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll see you on the next one.